So I open the door, and there is an empty purse, a jacket, and then one shoe just leaning against my door. And then I grabbed the shoe, I sniffed it, and I could just tell it was hers. Just kidding, I threw it in my room and saved it for later. So,
welcome back to part 2 of me going to the local ISU open mic night and doing performances. The last one that I did was intentionally a bad stand-up that some of my friends wrote. I wanted to bomb on stage. I kind of wanted to get the gears turning just for being on stage. This one was the real deal, just a normal stand-up that I wrote alone, trying to be funny, trying to be just a normal stand-up comedian. So this was that performance. At the end, I'll do a little bit of like an analysis talking about the process and how I think the performance went personally, and then some things I'll work on. So with that being said, here is the...
We'll also be doing comedy.
Come on guys, you were too hyped for me. So my parents begged me not to wear this shirt on stage. There's no punchline, they're just disappointed. I feel like every stand-up comedian has to start their set off by saying something about the venue or the town that they're in, but like I live here and we all live here, so am I just supposed to act like I don't go here? Like, yo, what's up, Iowa State? Woo! Ames, Iowa, yeah! You guys had that, I went into this building, Helzer. You guys will be getting an email about that soon. A lot of you guys might assume that I was the victimizer in that joke, but I'm 5'11 and a half. What am I gonna do, go for the ankles? So I just went on my first date. Yeah. It was a court date. We were married for 2 years and she took everything I owned. Just kidding, my girlfriend's still in elementary school. Don't you guys hate it when popcorn gets stuck in your teeth and then you use your tongue to like find where it is, and then you use your finger and the other person's like, get the hell away from me, I can get it myself? Okay, fine, not 5'11 and a half, I lied. I can feel you guys judging me. I feel like talking about height though has to be the most like toxic conversation, especially with a group of guys. Not because I'm a short king, there are other reasons. But, you know, I mean, I dare you to just go, as a guy, just go into a group of guys and casually state how tall you are. I even bet, when I said that I was 5'11 and a half, I had people in the audience, and there's a guy who's like, that dude's not 5'11 and a half. I guarantee it. I mean, just go into a group of guys and just say how tall you are. You're gonna have guys that are like, bro, no, get over here. I am 6'1", stand right here. Come on down. And then I have a guy be like, I just had a physical yesterday. I know how tall I am. Bust out your driver's license. Let me see. I would say, we have the girls decide how tall the guys are, but I had a 4'11" girl tell me that she wouldn't love anybody under 6 feet. It's not why we got a divorce, but it was a point of contention for sure. You know, I think that bit may sound like a high school thing, but I mean, we all want to go back to high school, right? Yeah, that's what I thought. Anybody who nodded in the audience, make sure you point them out to me when we get out. We can beat them up together. No, but a lot of people, you know, they want to go back in time. They want time travel to be a thing as we, you know, progress into the future. But if you think about it, time travel already kind of exists. I mean, you can skip a 13-hour plane ride by popping some melatonin and just sleeping through it. Boom, you're in Ohio. But you wake up, and everyone else lived through that whole experience, but you slept through it. I mean, that's time travel. We can go forward in time. If you want to go back in time, just ask my bitch of an ex-wife. Yes, I'm still on that. You know, I'm always afraid that I'll accidentally copy other comedians' jokes, but then I look around and nobody else is wearing a shirt that says, God, I love feet, and I feel pretty safe about it. You know, a lot of people, you know, assume things. I love telling jokes, I love being a comic, but a lot of people assume things. A lot of people assume that I'm racist just because I'm white, but I'll kill anybody. Black or Hispanic, either or, really. For those of you that didn't like that joke, I'm allowed to make fun of racists. I'm white, so if you play both sides of the aisle, then everybody hates you. If everyone hates you, then you're a comedian, so. Yeah, but I feel like comedians are supposed to complain a lot, they're supposed to rant, but that's not really who I am. I like to bring smiles to people's faces, I like to be optimistic, but Jimmy John's pisses me off. Why the hell can't I toast my damn sandwich? They look me in the eyes while I eat a cold BLT. I don't understand it. I get that the motto is freaky fast, but wouldn't I understand by getting a sandwich and toasting it that it would take just a little bit longer to make, right? I mean, somebody could have all worse ingredients, but it would still be a better restaurant because at least they allow me to toast my sandwich. God! People say I need to loosen up on stage. I feel like I should be getting paid for this. Sorry, I got caught there for a second. I also feel like Cinderella would be a weird story. It would be a good story for someone with a foot fetish. There are a lot of weird people out there. Not me, though. I mean, but think about it. If someone came scouring the campus to hand me a shoe that they sniffed out like a hound dog, I'd probably throw it in a fire. It'd be a little weird. Speaking of which, just kidding. If I had a transition or a story about hunting somebody down with a foot fetish, then all that green dot training was for nothing. So. Actually, you know what? Here's a green dot for you guys. This is a story that actually happened to me. I had a drunk girl walk into my dorm at 5 o'clock in the morning on a Tuesday. This isn't another Helzer joke. This actually happened. Okay, so you guys are all dying to know. Here's the story. So, it may not come as a shock to you, but during my freshman year, my roommate was never in the dorm. Don't know why. But he's never there, and when he'd show up in the crack of dawn while I was nestled tightly in the most uncomfortable bed I've ever slept in my life. So as I was sleeping, I heard someone rummaging around my room. And I just assumed that it was my roommate, until I heard a crash, and then I heard this like Minecraft zombie grunting noise, like, And I was like, that's not my roommate. If it was, I would have killed it. So, I obviously sit up, and I see the silhouette of somebody in the corner of my room. And I'm like, excuse me, you're in the wrong room. And I get no response. I was like, excuse me, you're in the wrong room. No response. And so then the light comes on, and I get flashbanged. And through like one eye, I can see this girl standing in the corner of my room. And then she like makes eye contact with me, and then shuts the light back up. Like, oops. Like I was in the wrong. And I was like, So I just lay back down and went back to sleep. Just kidding. I obviously got up and I confronted her. So I turned the light on, and I'm like a foot away from her, and she's just staring at me like this. So I'm like, excuse me, ma'am, you're in the wrong room. And she's like, what? I was like, excuse me, ma'am, you're in the wrong room. And she's like, what? I was like, let's step outside for a second. So I opened the door, and there is an empty purse, a jacket, and then one shoe just leaning against my door. And then I grabbed the shoe, I sniffed it, and I could just tell it was hers. Just kidding, I threw it in my room and saved it for later. So I was like, is this your stuff? And then she was like, oh my gosh, that's so embarrassing. And I was like, do you live in Willow? And she's like, how did you know? I was like, because that's where we are. And I was like, do you live on the first floor? And she was like, no, I live right here. I was like, no, I live there. Just get out of there. I was like, do you live on the first floor? And she's like, no, I live right here. I was like, let's take a walk for a second. So we start walking down to the girl's side. She sobers up for a second. She's like, oh my gosh, I live in room 106, not 146. Honest mistake. So I walk her to a room. There's another shoe, score, and there is, and the key is in the lock of the door. And I was like, is this your room? And she's like, oh my, yeah. So she tries to unlock it, and she has the bathroom key in there. And so then she's like, can you unlock it? And I was like, yeah, sure. So I unlock the door, and then I'm about to make my great escape, and she turns to me. She's like, her eye twitches involuntarily, and she's like, do you want to come in? And I was like, just kidding, not another Helzer joke. I was like, obviously no, for a million reasons. The reason I chose to go with is because I have a girlfriend. Sorry, I was expecting the audience to be upset that I wasn't single. No, I told her that I had a girlfriend, and she was like, me too, naturally. And then she said, I love you, which was really sweet. And then I went home, I called both my parents and my girlfriend, and now I get to tell the story to you guys. Thank you, everybody, that's all I got.
Damn, dude, you need to put your shoes back on.
I think overall that went well. It was definitely good for my first time. I think the most interesting phenomenon was how divided it felt the audience was. Some of them laughed at a very specific kind of joke, whereas some of them were very quiet during a different kind of joke. And it felt that a lot of the weirder jokes or the jokes that made them feel a little bit more uncomfortable landed with it felt like the people who knew me, they were all in one area. So it felt like those landed really well with people who knew me, whereas people who didn't know me were kind of uncomfortable. I think that that's definitely just a writing issue, and there were a lot of just skill issues with just performing, and this was like my first time being on stage, so there's a lot of delivery that definitely could have been worked on. For the first time though, I'm proud of the performance that I did, and more importantly, it was me. I wanted to write something that was authentically me, what would just come up naturally when I was like, okay, let's write a stand-up set. Try to be funny. It feels authentically and stylistically like me. I just think that some jokes didn't land super well with the audience. I think that was just a writing issue on my end where I didn't taper it to a specific group of people, but at the same time, I wanted it to be just authentically me, and in that regard, I think it was good. I'm really proud of it, and I will be doing more. I think the next one that you guys will see will be me going up and doing some songs on the guitar. The following time, I'm gonna write another bad stand-up set, and this time I'm going to get more into character. I'm going to play a character, I'm going to dress differently, change my mannerisms, change my voice a little bit. I'm going to actually play a character. It's also going to be written by me specifically. It's going to be more like Sam Hyde performance art. And then the following one will be poetry. I wrote some really pretentious and fake poetry, I think my sophomore year, and it won awards, so I'm going to wear like a sweater and then walk up and read that out with dramatic music playing in the background. That one will need a little bit of workshopping, but those are the 4 that I have now. If I come up with more, if I want to write another normal comedy set, I absolutely will do so. I still have some jokes left over, so we'll just see where the ball rolls, but this is definitely going to be a series that you should expect to see just more often. So here's the outro.